So we're here at the Pendulum Summit in Dublin 2018. It's Breakthrough to Brilliance. Now, I haven't dragged one of the speakers off the stage. In fact, I'm going to speak to Paul Pryor, who's the Managing Director of FTI Consulting. Paul is involved in digital transformation, working with Fortune 500 companies, public sector, to bring digital into their businesses. So I'm very interested in digital transformation, but particularly around leadership. Yeah. In my experience, it begins with the leader, and if digital transformation is to happen, then it's important that they are the people that, implement it, and they are the visionaries. Yeah. What's your experience?
So what I would probably suggest in the clients that we work with is that they're stuck in a rut. So their businesses are structured for a business that no longer exists. That 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago was probably appropriate, but is no longer appropriate to modern society, for want of a better phrase. Their customers and employees want different things from them, which includes better ways to leverage technology to do their jobs more efficiently, and also better ways to engage with their client population. And in both of these instances, it starts with the human process within the organisation itself, and the human process is currently broken.
What about public sector organisations? Now, some people might argue that the bottom line is not really their motivation. How can you work with leaders who are employed in their organisation and maybe don't have the vision that an entrepreneur has?
I think the first thing to do is to remove your own bias in how you judge these organisations, because they're still full of human beings who on an individual level want the same things we all need. So they want to feel important within the role that they're doing, like they're progressing forward within the organisations that they're working with, and they define success in whatever way is important to themselves. So the first step is to not bring these implicit biases we have towards public sector companies into that organisation.
And let's talk about then the digital transformation systems, the new processes that we might implement in organisations. Yeah. You work a lot in analytics and developing new processes. Are people afraid of that data as well? Does it make them more accountable, or what is the fear around data?
No one understands it. So that's the first thing when you talk about people's data. Firstly, they don't trust it, because they realise themselves that they've been entering it in for the last 20 years, and what they've been entering in they can't really stand over. So the first step in anything like that is to give them comfort with regards to what you're trying to achieve, and then create an accurate source that you can actually begin to create insight from. I certainly feel that most organisations change over the water cooler in the canteen. They don't necessarily change in boardrooms, although that's typically where, as you said yourself, the seed is planted for that type of change within an organisation. So if your friend group within an organisation is starting to act a certain way, you naturally start to act towards that and want the same things.
So if we use the analogy of an organisation similar to like a ship floating on the sea, and you have senior leadership who are reluctant to engage in digital transformation, and then you have a younger generation and digital and technology is just natural to them, there's a bit of a wobble there, isn't there? Something's got to give. What gives, or what's going to give?
So I think, certainly from my perspective, the younger population need to learn how to sell it to the older population. And you need to put much the same as you have expectations of your leaders that they'll walk in your shoes. I think it's fair for them to have expectations that you also need to walk in their shoes. A CEO's lifetime these days is about 5 years. They typically have a legacy they want to leave on the back of that. If you can attach a digital strategy to that legacy, you're already starting in a good place. So you need to think through the eyes and perspective of the person that you're trying to sell your idea to.
What one digital transformation leadership tip would you give to somebody who's perhaps watching or listening to this?
I think it's look inwards before you look outwards. Digital transformation requires you to change as an individual first before the organisation will change around that. And we can all, that's why we're here today, I think we can all take some time out to understand how we can change to better ourselves and therefore better our organisations.
Paul Pryor of FTI Consulting, thank you so much, and delighted to have you on JSB Talks Digital.
Thanks very much, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
JSB Talks Digital.
Give me a like, subscribe, and get JSB Talks Digital, the vlog, every Monday morning in your inbox. And please do share with your friends. They'd really appreciate it.